This is something that sets most of the rest of the industry apart from a lot of these Disney films that come out right now, is that there's actual third-party cash flows, okay? This is something that's, we're not moving, right? I have $10. If I'm Disney, I have a right and a left hand. I own the streaming and I own the movie. And streaming, I have $10. Streaming pays me $5 to license it. I still have $10, right? I can say I made money on the movie, but it came out of the left pocket to the right. It's a journal entry. Renegade Online. Summerbound, $4.2 billion. This is Deadline's expectations for the summer. $4.2 billion box office. After a record $322 Memorial Day weekend, Lilo and Stitch, $180 million 4-day. Mission Impossible looking at $77 million. Here's the updates, okay?
Wait, 40. They're looking at $4.2 billion for the summer. In other words, Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Yes, big time. Reckon it.
That's even big money for guys like you and me.
I know, right? I mean, it's just, sometimes we got to slub it with these numbers, Rob. They talk about some of the comparisons we did earlier, but what I get down to is some of the nitty gritty here. Mission Impossible, Final Reckoning. After a $20 million Saturday, down 19% from Friday plus Thursday previews, of course, is on course for a $63 million 3-day, 77.4. The Friday through Sunday take is easily an opening record for a Tom Cruise franchise, besting the bow of Mission Impossible Fallout, $61.2 million. There's a lot of questions on whether this opening is substantial for production, which cost, and this is where the figures come from, guys, $300 to $400 million. Now, again, just as a caveat, there is some question whether or not these are $300 to $400 million is a massive range. And again, we don't know if this is inclusive of film tax credits because this movie was shot in nearly 8 different foreign countries. So this could be a gross spend or a net spend. Okay, so this is why that I have said I am going to use, Valiant Renegade is going to use a $350 million middle ground as a net spend after film tax credits. Our friend Robert Meyer Burnett has heard that the gross on this was $450 for just production. Again, take it for what it is, and he knows his stuff. Here's the thing, says D'Alessandro. For Hollywood studios, the value of franchise properties increase with each subsequent installment across multiple revenue streams. When new entries have one waterfall, franchise films benefit from an entire library. Paramount has celebrated the Mission Impossible franchise across home entertainment or HE digital platforms and Paramount Plus, driving a substantial uptick in views of the previous films on Paramount Plus and, this is key, and transactions versus digital retail partners. This is something that sets most of the rest of the industry apart from a lot of these Disney films that come out right now, is that there's actual third-party cash flows, okay? This is something that's, we're not moving, right? I have $10. If I'm Disney, I have a right and a left hand. I own the streaming and I own the movie. And streaming, I have $10. Streaming pays me $5 to license it. I still have $10, right? I can say I made money on the movie, but it came out of the left pocket to the right. It's a journal entry. So what we're talking about here is third-party revenue, and that's key, okay? And this is where Tom Cruise, Skydance, and Paramount are looking to for Mission Impossible, driving a substantial uptick in transactions via digital retail partners. I've heard, D'Alessandro, the original 1996, holy crap, guys, 29 years ago, that movie alone generates $10 million a year. That one movie alone, $10 million a year from all types of media for the Melrose lot. Hence, the $300+ million movie is a lifelong investment that should pay off heads and tails in TV airings and streamings of Final Reckoning. Also remember that Paramount is only on the hook for 50% of the production costs. Of course, the other half is from Skydance, from the Ellison crew. Larry and David Ellison, the guys who are now merging the company that is buying Paramount out from Sherry Redstone. Paramount will keep assessing this as a business for the films moves along. Unlike Dead Reckoning, as we already told you, Final Reckoning has 3 weeks of IMAX, and that's a big difference. Dead Reckoning was kicked out after 7 days. Basically, 7 days to give way to Oppenheimer. That's not happening this time. They have 3 weekends. So when you take that into account, again, is it going to make its money back at the box office? Highly unlikely, I would say at this point, to be fair. But because Paramount is not run by complete narcissistic idiots like Disney, they actually have a real chance of drawing in legitimate cash flows, real revenue, not a $5 bill from the right pocket on the Disney Plus credit card that's $10 billion in debt to the left pocket. It's still $5. They're actually drawing in real money. That's the difference here, right? And this is going to be an overtime thing, which, as Tom Connors is very familiar with, and I'm sure he'd agree with me, this is how Hollywood movies used to make. The vast majority of Hollywood movies used to make money long term because of the windowing. That's how it's supposed to work. So
I agree with that. I'm not so sure that this and the last one will ever be completely profitable, but I hear what you're saying. And yeah, normally
from a franchise, from a
franchise
totality
standpoint,
I want to know how the heck they got to 450. Like, there's no CGI. How did you get to $450 million?
There is some. There is some. In fact, that's some of the controversy. As I was,
but there's not like a CGI monster or any of that kind of stuff.
No, but it's the naked CGI you don't see. Like, yeah, that's what I'm hearing is causing some issues.
Yeah,
450. You know, I mean,
the removal of wires. You know, basically CG stuntmen in scenes where you may think it's Tom, but it's not.
Listen, there's I get that there's a lot of wizardry that goes into it.
Yes,
but this is not Star Wars.
You're right. You're 100% right.
Like, 450 is hard. That is hard to spend that kind of money.
Well, that's because they also jet set all over the place.
That's the big thing. It's the 7 or 8 different countries, and you have to imagine probably out of that 450 million, I can almost bet you that 100 million of that cost is travel and lodging. I wouldn't be surprised.
Throw him out of an airplane over Nebraska or something. Come on.
I mean, because they don't skimp. Everything runs through there. We've seen this with Disney stuff in the past. It would not at all surprise me if that reached that peak of expense.
But it's a great movie. I highly recommend. If anybody can go out there and watch it, I mean, it's a cinematic experience. Go see it at the best screen you can. It was a great one to end on. If that's the last Mission Impossible, phenomenal. I had a great time.
You have to have seen the other ones?
Nope. They're going to disagree with me, but I say nope. Go if there's no point. You're not going to get through 8 other movies or 7 other movies, so just go.
At least go see the 7th one, because that leads directly into this. So yes, I mean that is tied together. Although, look, the second one, everybody tends to agree that you can throw that one out. The first one, I'll tell you what, though, Ron, the Mission Impossible films from the 3rd one to the 6th, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can watch those straight through. They are all connected to one form or fashion, especially with the characters that come into play.
I need a West Coast trip.
That's wonderful.
That's where I catch up with franchise.
There you go.
California, we need you to screw up royally right now.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.